I'm the only candidate up here who's not a billionaire. I don't have a super PAC. I don't even have a backpack. I carry my stuff around loose in my arms like a professor, you know, between classes. I own one pair of underwear. That's it. Some of these billionaires, they got 3, 4 pairs. And I don't have a dryer. I have to put my clothes on the radiator.
We're back. That was Larry David, of course, who stole the show Saturday night with his impersonation of Democratic presidential candidate Bernie Sanders. Anyway, that was just something. I tell you, over the weekend. Here was Bernie's, by the way, reaction yesterday to Iowa, to what he saw on SNL, that spoof of his.
Do you have more than one pair of underwear?
Next question.
Thanks,
everybody.
No. Wait, no, this is a serious question. Yes, last week I bought my second pair of underwear. Yeah. That's a joke. All right. Please don't write it down. That was a joke. Joke. Yes. I have an ample supply of underwear. And,
That accent's great. Anyway, bring in the Hardball Roundtable right now. Francesca Chambers, the White House correspondent for the Daily Mail. Sahil Kapur is a political reporter for Bloomberg, and Rebecca Berg is a reporter with Real Clear Politics, which tells us all the numbers all the time. Thank you very much, Rebecca. And here's the question. Bernie's, I have a sense that he's very careful now about not becoming too cartoonish. The fact that he said don't write it down, of course, it's already written down, but not getting involved too much in the humor of this. I think he's worried a little bit here about the effectiveness of Saturday Night Live to sort of make you more comic than is helpful.
Sure. Well, Bernie Sanders cares very much about the policy, and he's made that clear over the course of his campaign that he wants to be the policy candidate, the serious candidate here. But we have seen a little bit of his playful side lately, so he's not completely spurning this opportunity. He went on Ellen DeGeneres, danced around, he talked about his underwear, gave me personally more information than I ever wanted about Bernie Sanders' underwear. So he's not totally rebuffing this, but you're right. He does want to remain a serious candidate because that's what he is about.
You know, Sahil, when people bust their hump in a campaign, kids, young people go out and work door to door, and they go to supermarkets, whatever, and stand there for hours handing out literature. They do all this stuff of campaigning, which is real. Right. They want to know the guy or the woman has a shot, and they want to know that they're going to win. These are not protest campaigns. These are real. Do you think Bernie's coming across, since the debate, after he jumped across the net and said to Hillary, I'm not going to use email against you, do you think he's still acting like a candidate who's trying to beat her? Or is some guy who's got a protest line he wants to sell, but he's not really that interested in whether he wins or not? I'm worried that he isn't acting like a politician enough. Your thoughts?
I think he's acting like a candidate who's true to his past self. He brags frequently about the fact that he's never run a negative ad in his life, and he likes to stay positive and focus.
He lives in Vermont.
That's true. Exactly. It's in Vermont, and I don't know of any presidential candidate who's ever become the nominee or let alone got elected who hasn't gone negative. Now, I understand his hesitance in going after Clinton's emails. Democrats are not excited about that, but if you talk about her closeness to Wall Street...
Why did he take it off the table? He did not go after it. He took it off the table. Right. He said he just get written enough already about the email.
Because I think there's polling that shows that it might be a bad look, because Democrats are not worried about her email. They might be concerned about maybe her closeness to Wall Street or various other things, her judgment on the Iraq War.
But her wobbliness as a candidate was working in his favor. Now the wobbliness is pretty much gone on email with the Democrats because he just took it off the table.
Yeah, but I would absolutely agree with that. When I'm out on the campaign trail, Chris, and I'm talking to Democrats, I ask them, you know, if they're supporting Sanders, is it because of Hillary Clinton's emails?
Well, nobody's going to say that.
But they tell me no, but they say it's because of Wall Street. It's because of the big banks. It's because of a whole host of other issues. You talked about her being wobbly, but it's not specifically about the emails. So I think he took those off the table because he does think that he can win this election, he can win this primary, and win that debate if it's not about the emails. Is he winning it?
No.
I don't think that he won the debate the other night. No, I do not believe that he won the debate the other night.